Hello, football fans. Welcome to Talking Tactics with Lloyd. Yeah, I wanted to just maybe go into detail with regards to the news of Coach Hugo Bruce tenure with Bafana Bafana coming to an end. And I thought, let me sort of break down his achievement and just highlight really some of the good things that have happened to the national team under his reign. I remember a coach coming in 2021 when the national team was at its lowest period, having failed to qualify for the two AFCON editions, the 2022 FIFA World Cup, and all mixed emotions really. Some of our top players at the time not really being interested in the national team, but there he come in a coach or a strict disciplinarian in my view. I think Europeans by nature they have a certain level of discipline and professionalism within a team setup or within the dressing room. Immediately he made sure that the team would come first over and above an individual, over and above a big name player, over and above a big name player. We saw some of, I can call out many names where we had issues with big name players being called up or rather not honoring the call up. But the coach came in, instilled discipline within the team. And also, another thing that I liked early into his tenure was just the selection pool of players, where he sort of expanded his horizon in terms of player selection. We saw some of the maybe unknown players or least favorite players being called upon into the national team, the likes of Yaya Sithole. He comes into my mind. The likes of Nyobi Moki at the back comes into my mind. The likes of Leroux, a center midfielder, comes into mind. The list is endless, where some of the players really were not playing for the top teams, but they were called up into the national team. And during the first period or the early phases of his tenure, we started seeing a bit of a settled team in terms of selection, where we are no longer relying on European players. He started embedding our local based players, and of course, with the help of a Mamelodi Sundowns team that was dominating the football scene locally at that time, it helped integrating majority of their players into the national team, which today we can be proud of that investment. Looking at someone like team captain Ronan Williams leading the team, someone like Tebza Mokoena being a central figure in the team. That's just two of the many examples that Coach Hugo Bruce managed to establish. But coming into his achievements, rather, I think that's where the focus point should be. Yes, we can have various opinions about the style of play that he prefers, or perhaps the selection of players that he decides to employ in that tactical personnel. That it's not relevant at this point, but really something to be proud of and to highlight is the fact that he is one of the few coaches who have been in charge of our national team, who have successfully managed to qualify for the AFCON edition or AFCON tournament back to back without any calculators needed, without any playoff, without any hassles really. Pure execution in terms of qualification period. We've had 2023 AFCON where he took us to the semi-final, coming third, bringing in a bronze medal, and really in around the tournament, even during the tournament qualification, we had a multiple player selection pool. I remember early in his tenure, we had the likes of Pesitau being central figure, Pesita, who was a top striker or a top number 10 in the early phases of Hugo Bruce tenure. We had guys like in Thapelo Morena as well being introduced. Whereas looking back now, you have someone like Erele Mofokeng, Frosler, who in the early tenure of the coach was unheard of to be selected. But looking back today, we have the likes of Mbokazi playing in the MLS due to the experience as well, and introduction really of the coach. So for me, I think without a shadow of a doubt, without being emotional and biased towards the coach, he is the best, one of the best, rather, really, to have coached our national team. Back to back AFCON qualification success. And with that being said, of course, the highlight or the big prize being qualifying to the FIFA World Cup 2026 that just played in a not so tough group, but we know Africans' journey, qualification journey towards the World Cup. It's not the easiest. We had Nigeria in our group. We had some of the toughest away matches, Benin in our group. So to have successfully manage the qualification progress, even with the fact that we had points deduction. So that just takes into context really the success that I believe Coach Hugo Bruce had with our national team. And yeah, the big talking point would be his successor, someone who comes after. I mean, just from a competitive perspective, I think Bafana Bafana is not the same team as when he came in 2021. Yes, we can mention the world rankings improvement, the performance, collective and individual performances of our players, and really just the progress that the team has had. For me, I believe the relationship has exceeded or has came to its fruitful journey. I'm not really said about him not having his contract extended. I feel this is the right time to bring in fresh ideas, someone with a different perspective and tactical acumen to take us now to another level. Another level being that we need to win. Yes, competing it's always appreciated and it's always nice to compete and be counted amongst the best. But I feel now our national team, we are at the stage where most of our players they are playing at the peak of their levels and at the right ages as well. Enough depth all across the pitch or all across various positions. So I feel at this point, whoever, I don't really have a specific candidate in mind, but I believe whoever SAFA decides to appoint as the successor to Hugo Bruce can take us to an AFCON glory. I think for me that should be the minimum target really for the next coach to say, can you compete and can you solidify the team? Of course, coming at the FIFA World Cup, we're going to be focusing on the AFCON qualification. Can you make sure that you qualify within the record time? And can you really at least push to go to the final, if not semi-final of an AFCON? For me, that would be a progress. That would be progress, and that would be a success. And over and above that, the continuous integration of young players, and of course, most of our players now playing their trade in the top teams locally, and some are having been signed to the European teams. Can we just ensure that we don't drop our levels? That for me would be a consistent and a continuous progression from a national team perspective. So yeah, that's my view on Coach Hugo Bruce Madala, as I like to call him. A successful journey with the team and all the best with his future endeavors. And of course, the support that whoever takes over, the nation would be rallying behind and give him as well the necessary support that he deserves. Thank you.